let me start what I consider to be the keynote address, which will first of all talk a little about Spotlight, the Center for Social Justice, and then zero into what brought us here today. As you can see from this banner, the vision of what we are doing is that we are dreaming of a Nigeria where all women and girls, particularly the most vulnerable, live a life free from violence and harmful practices. This is the overall goal of the Spotlight Initiative. And the Spotlight Initiative is working in 6 states in Nigeria and at the federal level. In the southeast, we have Ebonyi. In the south-south, we have Cross River. In the southwest, we have Lagos. North Central, we are focusing on FCT. Northeast, we are working in Adamawa. And the Northwest, we are working in Sokoto states. Now, the whole idea is that there are so many other groups working, apart from the Center for Social Justice, with almost up to 20 to 30 groups working on this issue. And you can see the UNDP is involved, UNICEF is involved, UNFPA is involved, the UN Women, and UNESCO is also involved. At the federal level, you have the Ministries of Budget and Economic Planning, Ministry of Women Affairs, Ministry of Justice, and a whole lot number of other groups, education and health, they are all involved. So there are multiple approaches, multiple entries into the challenge of violence against women and girls, harmful traditional practices, and sexual and gender-based violence, as well as trying to promote the enhanced enjoyment of sexual and reproductive health and rights of women and girls. So what brought us here today is just one small part of the programming we are doing. And that part is about the fact that Nigeria has signed on to so many policies. We have a national gender policy, we have a national women's policy. We are also part of the Committee of Civilized Nations, where we have signed on to the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. At the federal level, there's the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act. There's the Child Rights Act, which has also been domesticated in many states of the Federation. So when we have all these things at both the federal and state level, what we are doing is that we have done a study. We've done a study on how Ebonyi State is fulfilling these obligations it has undertaken. Basically, on violence against women and girls, harmful practices, sexual and gender-based violence, and sexual and reproductive health and rights of women. Yes, we have signed on to these things. We have laws and policies. How much resources are we putting down to ensure that these things are implemented? If you make a beautiful policy and during the time of the budget is to put down money, and you do not put down the resources, that document will be hanging there, gathering dust, because it's the resources that you put down that will determine how well a policy, program, or law is implemented. So we are here to discuss the policy plan budget continuum. Beautiful policy, beautiful plan, but where are the resources to be able to push it through? So we are going to determine whether we have committed the maximum of available resources for the progressive realization of these rights of both girls and women, especially the vulnerable. Even if we have made financial commitments, at the federal level, which I know happens in many more states of the Federation, there is a difference between appropriation, what was written in the budget. It is different from released, the released amount. The released amount, I'm informed, is paperwork through the Ministry of Finance. After they say they've released it and giving you one document, it needs to be cash backed. You need to see the cabinet, the money. Even when it is cash backed, you still need to do utilization. Right? So I'll meet these 4 extremes. If you have not utilized the money, even if it is in the bank waiting for you, you have not achieved what you set out to do. Even when you utilize the money, the question becomes, is it value for money? If you have 10 million and you utilized it, the question is, could this 10 million have reached out to more women and girls? Could you have achieved more with this money? So this report examines the laws as they are. What laws do we have on harmful traditional practices? What laws do we have on second chance opportunity for girls? What policies do we have on widowhood practices? How are we linking this up with the budget? And when we answer all these questions of the adequacy of our laws and policies, we now go down to the situation report. We have the multiple indicator cluster surveys and the National Demographic and Health Survey. We have reports from the World Bank, from UNDP, statistical data showing enrollment in schools for girls, showing access to reproductive health and rights and family planning, showing the number of people who get battered or beaten up in a year, intimate spousal violence, and general societal attitude to violence, and showing the where women are actually sitting or standing on the social range in the state. After this situation analysis, we now link it up with the budget. What exactly has been budgeted? What is released? What is cash back? How is this money related to the data, available data, in terms of need? If you need to attend to 1 million women and girls, and the money you put down can only attend to 100,000, what is the gap? If you determine the gap, you begin to talk about how much more you need to put in to get to where you ought to be. So this is what we plan to do today, and we need to do it in such a detailed manner to inform the consultant so that after today, he goes back and this document, when it is cleaned out, it will be published. And the Ebonyi State's records will be put side by side with the records of other states. So my plea today is that just be as open as possible. Because if we had done this research and gone ahead to publish, somebody may say, oh, you stayed in Abuja, or you stayed in Enugu, or you just did what you want and claim you know when you don't know. You did not ask us who are the people doing the real work. You did not come to us. So beyond the consultant having seen some of you before, this is an opportunity to correct any of the mistakes. Nobody is perfect. Nobody is infallible. To add, to subtract, to review, so that we have a very well nuanced report that represents Ebonyi State's situation as it is. So once more, ladies and gentlemen, let me formally welcome you to this validation/review workshop, and to which that we are going to have fruitful deliberations. So unless there are any questions or any issues, I may go up to the next part of the agenda. But if there is any questions, let's clarify before we call on the consultant to come and do his presentation.